Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you all here today. It's great to see you at the 4C. So indeed, I'm Bobko, and I'm heading the Global Special Projects Department at Wargaming, which has had such a success with World of Tanks to not require any introduction, really. But maybe for those who still haven't heard, I don't know if there are any people like that. Shall I show this slide? No? Right, thanks. Then, as I said, I'm heading the Special Projects Department at Wargaming. What is special project? It's a difficult question to some extent, but for me, it's all the activities that we do on the edge of innovation, technology, creativity, partnerships, PR and marketing for sure, and social responsibility. And for me and for my team, it's the best job in the world where we can experiment with new media, new technologies for product's sake. And for Wargaming, we are some kind of a facilitator or a spirit tip of innovation when it comes to augmented and virtual reality worlds. So I actually have a few thoughts that are populated in my head to some extent these days. And first, have you ever thought that brands are now just a few millimeters from our brain? So, and we want to be part of that branded conversation, which is close to us from a visual standpoint. And definitely it all started with cinema screens, then TV screens, and then iPhones, tablets, wearables, and now headsets, which literally makes the distance between our brain and the branded conversation just millimeters. Another point that is also have in my head is that for our generation and for us already, we want the branded conversation to be close to us, not only from visual standpoint, but from psychological standpoint, that resonates with us emotionally, something that we want to be part of and something that we want to show off to the world. Hey guys, see how I interact with Nike, or that's what Coca-Cola made for me, or like here is World of Tanks what did for me. And now you can see behind my screen the example of our latest special project that we ran at Gamescom last year, which basically put people who came to Gamescom, our players and just visitors, straight to the branded content that people would share immediately straight after they came out of the booth, being part of the brand, being part of branded conversation. The third thought that I have in my head is the generations now switch way faster than they used to be. So it's not like the generation gap between us and our parents. It's not like the generation gap between me and my 10-year younger brother. I have two kids, Ivan and Elijah, one a 3-year-old and another is a 1-year-old. And I already see how they consume content differently from each other. But it's just 2 years passed between them. And I see that for them, it's like the habit and the behavior of content consumption is different. And for them, it's okay and absolutely normal, so that every single moment of time is recorded and can be played back. So they tell me, hey Daddy, show me how we went to Grandma yesterday. I was like, I did not record that. And he's like, how come? Why? Because I want to see that. I want to see that because normally you film all important moments of my life. And for my younger son, who is 1-year-old, it's not enough for him to watch cartoons. He wants to touch them. So there are like Tesla suit guys who do the haptic suits. Maybe you've heard of them. So they for sure have the audience already that has a demand for haptic feedback. And that's enormous, that's like tremendous, that's what's happening. And keeping that all in mind, the visual conversation being close to us from visual standpoint and from emotional standpoint, and considering the generation which is already prepared for that, and us being here also, well, more prepared for that maybe than 3-year-old boy, but because we are part of this. But still, it's big question of what brands and what developers are gonna do with all this. So where it all goes and when it makes sense to do stuff with new technologies, like for instance with AR, and what is the best way to do it. So in my talk today, first of all, I'd like to to talk about the stages of technological experiments, of when they are applicable, and what to expect and what not to expect. And second, we'll talk about my real case studies that me and my team and our counterparts in Wargaming have done together this year in particular, focusing on the World of Tanks AR Spectate experience that you may have already experienced right outside the door, as well as World of Tanks AR experience in form of an app which is publicly available. And then we will talk about what it all means to a company, what it means to product, what it means to audience, like why on earth we should care about that. And at the end, I think that we will make some perfect recipe for a good technological experiment. So let's roll. So on this graph, you can see different technological experiments when it comes to their level of usefulness or level of impressiveness. And for sure, like all reasonable brands or like developers would like to end up here. But that's inevitable that someone always gets in other sectors of this graph. And I need to highlight the important disclaimer that the goal of me and my team is not to design commercially successful products. Well, at least it was not recently. Because we are testing waters, we are experimenting with new media, seeing what the lessons we can learn and what we can do for this brave new technological world, and what it makes sense, what to do, what not to do. And quite a few projects that we've released recently at Wargaming, they perfectly correlate with both being intriguing and useful, with meaning, and being right on time, which is crucial. So obviously the first stage is for guys of being too early. Yeah. But that's inevitable. That's like the pathfinders of those who break this ice of this world of technology and and start to do something. So the guys for sure were okay for their time, but fortunately or unfortunately for them, millions of others, or them themselves, like build bridges above that experiments. And definitely we can count here the first VR devices, Google Glass in its first iteration, which just raised brows of people like, what shall I do with it? Like, okay, but shall I already care about that or not? So the audience is completely not prepared, and the hardware is finicky and lack of documentation. People and the developers and consumers, media have no idea what to do with all this stuff. The second stage is way more successful, and it's being right on time. Not being too late, not being too early, but being right on time. And that's extremely important to identify this stage, not to miss the moment. And at this stage, for sure, the more developers have already played with it. They know how to do things. They know how to do what to do with hardware. The hardware developers also provide more user-friendly solutions. And still, the technology is new enough so that most people haven't tried that, but not that much new so that the experience actually does work. But an extremely important point here that we've been here at this stage quite a few times, and the biggest question like that you need to be prepared is like, okay, but when you're gonna make a game like that? And it really needs to have need to put some thinking behind that. And you can see one of the examples of our the year before project, when we took the World of Tanks, when we took the tank from World of Tanks, the Sturm Tiger, put it in Microsoft HoloLens and on Google Tango, and make it in real size tank that is available for museum goers in Tank Museum in Bovington, as well as in World War II Museum in Minsk. So that's one of the previous examples, but I'll talk about the most recent in just a few seconds. So the third stage is Limbo, which is unfortunate and unevitable, but still this is the stage where the most of VR and AR experiences are now. So the people already tried that, they may have heard of that. There are some mainstream solutions, like, I don't know, some shopping giants making some AR applications that my son is playing with before going to bed, something like that. But that doesn't really impress already. In order to impress the audience, you really need to do something extremely groundbreaking at this stage. And definitely not all of the VR and AR players are ready to move further to the stage number 4, because it requires way more risks, justification, and proper analysis of like monetization, re-engagement, engagement, and so on. But the 4th stage is obviously is there, and it's commercial use, commercial success of the products. I've been thinking, like, what else can I put here instead of pretty used a lot of times Pokemon Go? But I really couldn't find anything beyond the Pokemon Go that is that successful, or like Job Simulator, if we speak about VR. But the biggest thing here is not about Pokemon, not about Job Simulator, but about the iPhone itself. Because the developers in Apple haven't even thought about half of the things that development society and community would come up with use cases of how to use this device and what else we can do with that. But they kept doing that, kept designing the hardware, kept designing the software solutions with the ARKit, with AR Core for Android, and now we have that AR in every single pocket, or like in every second pocket, I don't know. Yeah, and at Wargaming we know something about doing things right on time, and one of those experiments that we've done this year in the field and which is publicly available is World of Tanks AR experience, which literally recreates the tank battle in real world pretty much anywhere, either on miniature if you want to play tanks on your table, or in real size on the streets, in big halls, at events, and together with our community, we literally flooded the social media with real-size tanks from this experience. And this experience is available both on ARKit and AR Core, and we've really learned a lot releasing this stuff. With already dozens of thousands of users, which is not definitely millions, but those like real people who spend time on the app. They spend around, on average, of 2 minutes per session, and they still keep using that. And you can imagine that not a single marketing dollar was put on that, on the promotion of that experience. So that's purely organic. And what is even more important is that being just on time. When the platform, say for AR Core, for instance, when they were extremely hungry for the content, so they also included this app as like the best AR Core apps because, well, probably because that was that good, but obviously because not pretty many players were on the field. But we were right on time, and another example of being right on time is the CNET that also covered this story, which is like #1 technological media platform in the world that doesn't really cover our updates of World of Tanks 1.1 or 9.28, something like that. So, but still we create association between World of Tanks and big guys of this world like Google and Apple. And beyond that, we also had some extra applications of, like, for instance, the guys from High Tech Park in Minsk came to us and said, hey, the president of Kazakhstan comes to us. We need to show him something about the future of gaming. Like, you have something? He's like, sure, we have like World of Tanks. They're like, yeah, he plays World of Tanks, but he with his family. But something like more innovative. He was like, sure, let's use this as a government relation tool as well. So, which is also important, like for pretty much any developer. And with a number of other VIP presentations, applications, because like people really surprised with this kind of stuff. The next big thing, the one that I've referred to at the beginning, is somehow inspired by Star Wars. So you may remember the episode from Star Wars when R2-D2 streamed the Princess Leia to Jedi, sending them a message that, guys, we need help, we need help. And we really get so inspired by that. So that we really, like me personally, I was always dreaming to see that, experience that technology from Star Wars in our real world. And the idea with this project was to design a tool, or like a platform, to show World of Tanks in volumetric augmented reality. So like, if it's at all possible. And luckily, our guys from Wargaming Sydney, right just here to the right from me, they've been having some hackathon and prototyping, like pretty much following the same, reading the same air that we've been reading also at the same time, and they came up with the idea, like, and with some basic prototype. Hey, this can be done technically. And well, then we picked up that story and worked extremely closely with different parts of Wargaming, and first of all with Wargaming Sydney, with Minsk-based video team, and being choreographed by special projects together with the World of Tanks team. So that's like 100% in-house production. And as a result, has anybody tried that already? Maybe you, huh? Yeah, so as a result, we have an experience that allows you to watch World of Tanks' best gaming moments in volumetric augmented reality right on the table, or pretty much on any surface, or mid-air, like pretty much anywhere. That showcases AAA World of Tanks PC graphics that you can reach only on high-end World of Tanks PC machine, but you can experience that on your iPad with ARKit technology. So we brought that all together. We used the technology of local rendering, because like not a single iPad Pro or not any single device on Earth would be able to produce AR content of that quality with 60 FPS like at all. So that's why, since we are not yet living in 5G society, we put some clouds underneath the table and made all the rendering on the PC, and the PC was sending the signal from World of Tanks client straight to the iPad, and that's done pretty immediately. So with no latency, like pretty much at all. So an iPad. So I'll show you that. So the iPad literally serves like a in-game 3D mouse that controls the camera in the game, and the PC understands the orientation and position of the iPad and sends the signals between them, so that they are tethered, connected to each other, and can show the high quality, stable, believable picture of World of Tanks that is being deployed right next to you. And you can see tanks battling it out in front of you, or well, in a perfect picture. And you can make even MR selfies with that. If speaking about some applications for that, definitely we can think about being like a second screen. So you can imagine, like, maybe if Twitch decides so, but I would say that not if, but sooner when the technology comes closer to our life. That will be like somehow a volumetric Twitch of our days, where you can review matches all together with your friends in esports, or just in clan wars, or it can be, this technology can be even applicable to regular sports, with all the tracking of the data of players who play in NBA or NHL, or who play in football, and like, so that it can be applicable this way as well. So another possible application of this technology may refer to like, for instance, I don't know, how about historical visualization. So since World of Tanks is based on history and is considered to be like a virtual museum of military vehicles, it's natural for us to think about, like, to use this technology to visualize historical events. And once again, being right on time with this solution, with this technology, we have another use case of this story. So last August, this August, 2 months ago, that was the 75th anniversary of the Kursk Battle, the biggest tank battle in the world. And recently, earlier this year, we've been approached by the History Channel, who said, like, guys, there is a big event, big commemoration that we cannot just pass away and pass by, and let's do something together in digital. And we were just cooking with our internal teams this technology and said, like, hey, this is the perfect time to tell the story of biggest tank battle in history using the volumetric AR and do it in an extraordinary way. So that's why we recreated using completely in-game assets, in-game map, in-game tanks, like in-game replays. We recreated the historical moments in World of Tanks and added our historical consultant, head of our military and museum relations, Richard Cutland, as a narrator who told the story of Kursk Battle using volumetric World of Tanks AR Spectate to the History Channel Facebook audience, who's, I don't know, 43 million people? That's big. So beyond that, we also used this experience to highlight the Polish tanks in World of Tanks that were released earlier this year in August. So we also had some thinking about, like, fortunately or unfortunately, people in France or in Germany wouldn't really that much care about Polish tanks as people would care in Poland and in neighboring countries. So we created this piece of content also from marketing standpoint to highlight the newest update in World of Tanks, to highlight the Polish map, to highlight the Polish tanks that just newcomers to the universe of World of Tanks. And the results of this experience were really astonishing. So first of all, we gained the expertise, like it's priceless expertise when you have a chance to work with this technology of what is applicable and what is not, what cables to use and what not to use, and how to minimize the latency, how to make the rendering perfect, and how to achieve the 60 FPS. So it's really a huge chunk of expertise that our teams now have, and when the time and the market will be right on place, we will be already first in the field, because we already gained that expertise and know how to do things in that field. Beyond that, it's huge exposure that we got with this experience, with thousands of people trying it at Gamescom or a Tankman Day event that we had in Minsk, or here at 4C, and with number of future applications this year as well. And this story has been picked up and went really viral on Facebook with Mashable, Wired, and others picking up this story and spreading it further to the wall, so that more people find out about this perfect solution that was achieved. Yeah, so that's a great story, and I really encourage you to go and to try this experience straight after the talk. But still, the biggest question may remain in someone's head is like, why products that are non-AR or VR should care about that? Why shall they do this kind of stuff? Well, first of all, that's extremely important tool for attention grabbing. And definitely, it must not be built in any form of like hype only or anything like that. So if it's hype only, then it remains where it is. But if it's done thoroughly, perfectly, and well done, not medium rare, so then it's perfect tool for attention grabbing. And the second point, which is also very important, is user engagement. Because like we are realistic, we know that our game is 8-year-old. And we really need to always experiment and find new angles to tell the story about World of Tanks, so that community cares, so that environment cares, so that the people would be interested in what happens in World of Tanks. Because World of Tanks now and 8-year-old is absolutely different games. I'm pretty sure that you may have heard already about the biggest updates that we had earlier this year, so that completely redesigned the way that game looks and feels in a better form. So it's very important to work with users and to provide them with new angles, new incentives to interact with the brand. The third is also very important, is driving the top of the funnel. So as any marketer would tell you, that it's like a funnel, and the first point is awareness. And for instance, like in CIS, in Belarus, Russia, Kazakhstan, we have the awareness level of, I don't know, 95%. So like literally, it's difficult to find anyone who hasn't heard about World of Tanks there. But we, as I'm saying, we are realistic, and in Western markets, like there are players for sure, like millions of them, but we know that we need to do more, and need to do better, and to grab that attention. The fourth is maybe the most important, is gaining expertise for future market stages, for future applications, and this experience is really is really priceless. The fifth is driving attention to product updates, just as we did with Polish tanks being showcased this way at Gamescom, or just like we did in Minsk at Tankman Day, where we showed the Minsk in the 1960s shape, fashion in volumetric World of Tanks AR. So not only we introduced the map in the game for the first time, the Minsk map, but also showcase it in augmented reality. And next point is also very important, like what it means for the audience, because they really need to understand what for do they need to use that, because at this current stage they sort of, oh, I've seen that, I have some kind of cardboard at my friend's and he showed me something, you may not surprise me. So that's why we really need to deliver the tangible reason for a person to try it. And here, like what we consider based on the insights of the audience is that people really care about receiving a personalized experience, something they would be eager to share with their friends in socials, something they would like to take part in, something that we discussed at the beginning of the talk. And here it's extremely important, and people want that, and that's why we introduced the MR selfie moment, where you can be right inside the AR spectate thing, and pretend that you are in there and have a perfect video or photo of that. And at Gamescom, we set up a decent rig system where we took users' phones, set it up there at the right position with the camera on, and flooded the users' phones with MR content that they were eager to receive, with them being highlighted there. So the second is for the audience, is still a glimpse to the future, for them to something they wouldn't try at home, because this experience is not publicly available, because that's far from being there yet, neither from connection standpoint, neither from hardware standpoint. So that's why we can show them the future of gaming. That's literally the quote that Mashable did. The third is to provide them with incentive to look at the brand from a new angle, to make some story around that and make them participate in that. And the fourth is broadening their experience, because I believe that maybe some people from the History Channel Facebook didn't really know what happened in Kursk, like what it meant for the whole course of World War II, and who participated in that, I mean, from vehicle standpoint, and how it all changed the whole course of the events of those 70-year-old times back. So if speaking about some considerations that we've taken based on our recent AR experiences, I definitely can say that the experience really need to have direct product relevance. If you have a game about tanks, but instead you add some ponies who are like running next to it, that would really make no sense, because for us it's important to stay consistent and to put our brand in the epicenter of this experience. The second is social sharing is a key, and for sure, like that's pretty much obvious. But I have some funny angle when we were showcasing the Microsoft HoloLens based Sturm Tiger experience at Tank Museum in Bovington, and some devices were already they ran out of battery, so those were just Microsoft HoloLenses. But people kept coming and saying like, "Hey guys, give it to me. I just wanted to put it on my head and make a selfie." It's like, but you will not see anything. It's like, okay. I still want to have that futuristic headset stuff on my head. So in terms of the timing, from what we've learned is that 3 minutes is absolutely maximum for this kind of experience. And first of all, if we speak about events, it really needs to be even shorter because like people already used to this stuff. No matter it's futuristic, they say, okay, got it. But still, like not more than 3 minutes. Life size really is something that matters, and we could feel that with the World of Tanks AR experience, with the T-44 battling out against he wouldn't be able to fight against Sturmtiger, obviously, but fighting against Tiger 1 from World of Tanks. So, and people could really spawn the AR huge tanks and right next to them, and like to feel the size, and I'll show it to you at the end. The fifth is the importance of the live screen output, or like what recently, like last week, I've seen a few examples of when the guy is in virtual reality with the headset on, and there is some application that shows in AR what that person sees in VR. So like combination of mixed reality worlds, but that's what shows people to understand them what it's all about. The sixth is that museums are really hungry for this content, for these experiences, and we can speak about both military museum, natural history museum, art museum, like anything, because they all want their content to be spread further to the world, and so that more people know about the exhibits and more people come to them. So if some of you consider doing things in this area, that may be the very good advice. So the seventh is you really need to be prepared for like what you're gonna do with this stuff next. It's like when the game is coming, or like even if we say that, okay guys, it's a show car, as if you're an auto show. And you're watching the show. You're watching the concept car like this, but in form of World of Tanks here, for instance. And it does mean that immediately this concept car would go to production. Well, that's pretty much impossible. But in any case, it's very important to have at least some thinking of what you would do next, or what industry may do with it next. And with every single week, we see that the industry is speeding up, is evolving, and with every single month, we have a big update for the industry. So either Oculus Quest is coming to our life, or Magic Leap being sent to first developers, or updates for ARKit with iOS 12, and Ruler being pre-installed on every iOS 12 device. So beyond that, like some sports club signing a deal for VR streaming of their games, or some sports club signing a deal for AR data tracking of their players. So it really evolves and brings the industry closer to commercial use stage. Any idea what it's all about? This one? No? Welcome to 1997 in Minsk. I had this TV set. It was like of this size. It was black and white. And just these days I understood that that was my first spectate experience of someone playing a game. Who played this game? Anyone? Yeah, pretty much almost everyone from our hemisphere. So that's like an 8-bit console from 90s. I didn't have a console those days. I don't know, my parents did not allow me to play. But someone next door or next floor was lucky enough to have the console. And I was just sitting at home with a broken leg and just scrolling, rotating that wheel just to find some channel, because the TV set didn't have any buttons on it. So I just was rotating different frequencies. And suddenly I've seen someone playing tanks in black and white somewhere, and the game was not even online, so it's just the console broadcasting some weak signal, but a strong Soviet TV set could pick up the signal and show it to me. So I was sitting and watching someone playing tanks, and I still have no idea who that guy is. And here's where we are now. Like here is how we are watching tanks now. In volumetric, augmented reality, super stable, with Quickie Baby, our influencer, trying this. So the world is moving and really, really evolving. At least for 2 decades, things have changed slightly. And I have no idea what will be next. But if you want to experience this future of gaming that we designed and that has been proudly developed in Sydney, then just follow me after the talk and you can try it. So yeah, that's actually what I referred to. The real size, that's what matters. Thank you. Now I'm open for great questions. Thanks.
Any questions?
Yeah.
So if we had infinite budget, what would be your next step with this?
Well, what budget? Well, that's. I think that I might have some answers by the end of the tomorrow day because, well, today I've already consumed a lot of valuable and priceless information from the guys in different rooms, where AI is evolving, what are the meaningful ways to do it, and I still have no idea, but that would be something awesome.
Anyone else? Now, let's give a round of applause to Alexander one more time.
Thanks. Thank you.